Hello, welcome back to RetroBreak, and welcome to, once again, another MCM Comic Con video. You know how these videos go by now. I'm going to do a little bit of a vlog, and then come back afterwards, and I'll show you all the amazing games that I picked up while I was there. Enjoy! So there we go, I really hope you enjoyed the quick look at London MCM this year and the amazing music by the Gaming Muso. I'll put a link in the description so you can go and check out some of his other songs and his YouTube channel. Really cool guy and amazing music, as I said. So, on with the games. The first one I got here was from Alan's Japanese Games, a really cool game stall, and I'll be seeing him next week again at the Retro Market. This one here is called Last Alive on the Wonder Swan. I haven't got that many Wonder Swan games, but this one seemed kind of interesting. It's actually a visual novel style game, and you actually hold the system sideways. So it's one of the few games that actually plays this way around, where you use the buttons like that and the text comes down the screen. I'll do a little bit of gameplay, but of course it's all in Japanese, so I doubt I will ever actually be able to play it, but it looked like a pretty interesting game, and it kind of looks like a game that I'm looking for on the SNES called SOS as well, so that's another reason I picked this one up. Huh. That's weird, it was working yesterday. And there was one more game that I got from him, which is this one here, Godzilla Generations. And I was actually looking for the other Godzilla game, Godzilla Maximum Impact on the Dreamcast, because that one was co-developed by Quintet, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you might know that I'm trying to collect all of Quintet's games. This one isn't directly a Quintet game, but it's kind of linked to one, so that's why I picked this one up. And I've also asked him to try and find Kowloon's Gate as well, which was made by Shade, I believe, which was a spin-off of Quintet, and it has a really cool special edition that he's looking for. So fingers crossed I managed to get that one on Sunday when I'm at the London Retro Market. The next one here, this is one that I was extremely excited to find. I actually told the lady behind the stall that I was so excited to find this one, and she seemed kind of happy for me, but didn't really understand why, because it's a Pokemon minigame, for one thing, which a lot of people don't really know much about the system, and the second thing, it's basically just a plain card game with Solitaire and Snap, basically. Nothing too exciting, but I did manage to find my Pokemon Mini, and I've gave it a little bit of a play like I said, it's not really a super exciting game, but the Pokemon Mini is an interesting system, and this is the last game that I needed. Unfortunately, I don't know where any of my other Pokemon Mini games have gone. I would love to do a video on the system at some point in the future. As you can see, my one isn't quite as clear as it used to be. It's kind of gone this weird green colour, which is kind of unfortunate because it is a really nice system, and I'd love to do a video about it in the future, so look forward to that one. Probably next year, or maybe even the year after at some point, whenever I manage to find all the games that I've got for it. But I really do love it, and I'm very, very happy to finally get Zany cards. I have been looking for this game for years, so really excited about that. The next one here, and this one, I was kind of surprised that I didn't actually already own it. This is Robotron 64. I'm a huge fan of the original Robotron arcade game. It was one of the first games that I actually had on Windows 95. It actually came on a big floppy disk of Williams arcade hits. So I'm really excited to give the N64 version a try. I hear it's a really good updated version of Robotron, and I've played it a little bit, and I'll try and get some video to put over this. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have a way of plugging the N64 into the capture card, so you'll have to put up with CRT and video camera footage for it, but even so, hopefully it gives you an idea of just how fun the game is, because I'm really enjoying this one. Next up, a modern game. Yes, I do still buy modern games. Well, kind of a modern game. This is SNK's 40th anniversary collection, and I say kind of a modern game because this is just, I think it's 40 of their original arcade games. It doesn't actually say how many's on there, but there's a lot anyway. It's a really interesting collection. It's a really cool look at SNK's arcade history, and I love the extra effort that they went into with all the behind the scenes. You can see all the artwork for the game, you can see interviews, all sorts of different stuff behind the scenes, and you can even play the arcade versions, the Japanese versions, the home console versions. It's a very well thought out package, so if you like SNK, highly recommend picking this one up on the Switch. And I actually got it for 25 quid, which is a lot cheaper than I've seen it for online even, so really happy to get this one. Now, this one here, this is a kind of interesting game. I'm a big fan of Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, but of course before that there was Fahrenheit on the PS2, which is kind of the game that David Cage used to start his gaming storytelling career, so I'm very much looking forward to giving this one a go. I don't know whether it will hold up as well as the PS3 games and the PS4 games, but even so, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to try out. So that's Fahrenheit on PS2. And as always, I'll end this video by taking a look at some Game Boy games. So first up here is a Game Boy Color game, a Japan exclusive Game Boy Color game, and one that I've been looking for a long time. A very, very interesting game. It was made in the UK by Rare, but it never actually came out in the UK. It only ever came out in Japan. Here we got a black and white version of it, but here in Japan they got a colour version. This is Donkey Kong Land 3 in colour for the Game Boy Color. Exclusive to Japan. Usually it's really hard to find, so I was very excited to get this one. It cost me 8 quid. I'm not entirely sure what stall I got it from, but I've been playing it quite a bit, and the colour is kind of weird, but it's definitely a really interesting game to have. I'm very, very happy to finally have a copy, because it is one I've been looking for a long time. And now I'll quickly go through all of the black and white Game Boy games. There's 2 American ones that I don't think came out in the UK. They are Altered Space, a 3D alien adventure. I think that's what it's called. And the other one, of course, if you watch Game Boy Works, Jeremy Parrish, or if you listen to Retronauts, you'll be very familiar with this game. This is Heiankyo Alien. I think I pronounced that right. Really, really cool. One of the very first games ever made. Really good updated port of it on the Game Boy, and it also includes the original Japanese computer version on there as well. So really happy to find both of these games, although to be honest that space Altered Space game it isn't that good. But Heiankyo Alien's a cool one to get. And now there's just 4 games here for my UK Game Boy set. If you haven't seen my videos before, I am trying to get every single UK released Game Boy game that ever came out. So here's just another 4 to add to my collection. I've got 245 now, and I think there's about 300 and something, so I'm got about 100 more to go, but I'm getting there very slowly. They are The Last Action Hero. Don't really have much to say about that one. The controls aren't great. The fighting mechanics aren't great either because you have to be really close to the enemies when you try and attack them. And he runs way too fast and he doesn't jump properly. Not a huge fan of that one, but it's one for the collection. The next one is pretty cool. This one is Fortified Zone. This one was only £4 and it's way better than Last Action Hero, which was a tenner. This one plays sort of like the top-down bits in, what's that game that came out on the Switch recently? Oh, what's it called? I forgot what it's called. Blaster Master. That's it. This game plays like the top-down bits in Blaster Master, or I guess the top-down bits in Contra. It's a really cool game, and it also kind of reminds me of Zelda, the way the levels are split up into different sections, and you can move through them. You've got 2 different characters to play as. There's big boss fights, there's whole things that you have to destroy at the end of the stages. Really cool game, good music as well, and it actually controls quite well as well, so highly recommend this one, Fortified Zone. That one's a really cool game. This game, on the other hand, is incredibly boring in my opinion. I know some people like it, but I just find baseball games in general pretty pointless, to be honest. But it's got Mario on the cover, so that's something. This is baseball. It doesn't even have any other name. It was one of the first Game Boy games. It was released in 1989, so you can't complain too much. And the last one here, kind of an interesting game. This one is Skate and Die, Bad and Rad, or Skate or Die, Bad and Rad. And this one, surprisingly, most reminds me of that mini-game in WarioWare where you're on the skateboard and you have to jump over the blocks or duck underneath them. It seems like a good game. It's actually got boss fights and a proper sort of level-to-level progression system, and even some top-down levels later on, so I was actually really enjoying this. The controls do take a bit of getting used to, and I think that the animation is really weird because surely to move on a skateboard you have to put your foot on the floor, but this guy just sort of stands like that and moves across the screen, which is really weird, and even if you turn around he just goes and then back again. He doesn't even turn around, which is very, very strange. Fairly strange, but it is a good game, and once you get used to the controls it does become a lot of fun, so I would definitely recommend it. Oh, and the other thing that really annoyed me about this game, to duck you don't press down, you press B. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I messed up so many times trying to duck under the spikes in this game. But apart from that, I do recommend it. You just might take a bit of time getting used to the controls. And there was one more thing that I picked up, and that is this Hatsune Miku t-shirt that I'm wearing. I'm really looking forward to Project Diva coming out on the Switch next year. So there we go guys, that was my London MCM vlog and pickups video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you were at the event, what did you pick up? What were your favourite things about the show? And join me next week because I'll be doing vlog and pickups from the London gaming market, which is always something I'm really excited for. I've got a lot of plans, fingers crossed I actually get round to doing them all. I want to do a whole tour of the market because it's been a long time since I did one of them. So fingers crossed you get to see that next Friday, and then my pickups a few days later. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe. I have Patreon and Coffee, which I'll put links to in the description below. But as always, I'll see you next week for the next episode. Goodbye!